Hello and welcome to National Disability Services and our webinar on using the Organisational Readiness Self-Assessment Toolkit. I'm John Carrigan and I'm a sector support consultant with NDIS, where my role is to work with service providers to help them understand how to work with the toolkit and get the most out of it. In this first webinar, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the toolkit by looking at both the hard copy, which looks like this, and the website version, which looks like this. These will give you a sense of what the toolkit contains, the approach it takes, and what will be required of you to complete it. And in the webinars that follow, we'll go through the registration process and self-assessment exercises to give you a sense of how to complete them and how to interpret the results. A word of note though, we're assuming you have access to both the hard copy and the website. The hard copy is a handy reference to have alongside as you start out on the checklists online. So if you don't have it to hand, you can either pause this webinar and grab it before we continue, or download it from the website after you've registered. And we think you'll want to complete the assessments online because that's the quickest and easiest way to generate the kinds of gap analysis and development plan for your own organisation, and the benchmarking reports against your peers, which will be the tangible value from working with the toolkit. So what is the Organisational Readiness Self-Assessment Toolkit? Basically, it's a set of self-assessment exercises that focus on the business management capabilities your organisation will need to be sustainable in a market-based system. Being sustainable in a market-based system is not the same thing as providing quality services or functioning well in a block-funded environment. Think of the difference this way. When you deliver great services to people, you're demonstrating your service delivery capabilities. And those are usually captured or measured using a quality assurance process, with the disability service standards providing the framework in the case of our sector. But sitting behind that quality service delivery is a whole set of business processes that ensure the sustainability of the organisation providing that service. For example, having an effective complaints system is a key element of the quality service experienced by your service users. But tracking what it costs you to deliver those services is a business process. You can only undertake such business processes effectively if you have the required business management capabilities. And you will only be ready for the NDIS when you have the majority of these capabilities. That's what this toolkit helps you to establish. What capabilities does my organisation need? Which ones does it have? And how do I build those capabilities when I identify that there's a gap between what my organisation needs to be able to do and what it is capable of doing? And in the new world, it's also about the people who use your services having real choice and control over the way their supports are delivered to them. If that great experience for your customers is not backed up with sound management practices, you could end up going out of business. So the toolkit helps you to identify how strong or how ready you are in relation to what are commonly accepted as the benchmarks of good practice for businesses of all sizes. What are those practices and how does the toolkit do this? Well, for a start, it doesn't do one thing. It does several things across a number of different modules. Firstly, it provides a framework within which you, your staff, your board and your service users can start talking and thinking about what the changes to person-centred funding will mean to how you work and how your organisation provides services. In our work as sector support consultants, we use this, the Road to Readiness graphic, as this sort of discussion starter in a number of ways. We use it to highlight the role of the market in the new system. We use it to describe in some detail the process which people with a disability will go through to participate in that marketplace. And we use it to start providers thinking about their capabilities in each of the 7 domains of their operations around which the self-assessment checklist is structured. And you can see those 7 listed on the billboard in the middle of the screen. Those are the benchmarks of good practice we've been talking about in areas like strategy, governance, client and market focus, financial sustainability, your workforce, information and knowledge management, and quality, measurement and improvement. Secondly, the toolkit takes those 7 domains and sharpens the focus of your discussions about the related capabilities by putting forward key questions for further discussion. These can be used by boards or senior management teams to really thrash out the issues for you at a strategic level. For example, as either a formal part of your strategic planning process or as a preliminary to that process. You can find the 7 key questions online by clicking on the Reference Guides button on the menu and clicking through to download a PDF of these questions. The third element of the toolkit, by contrast, will really bring you down to the operational reality of how many of these management capabilities you currently use in your organisation. This involves self-assessment checklists accessed from the hyperlink on the dashboard. Each of the 7 domains clusters a range of behaviours and practices which are generally agreed to be associated with sound business management. The checklists take you through 31 of these issues and require you to self-assess yourself against both desired and advanced practices associated with each. It can be a challenging process because many organisations have not been required to undertake this sort of root and branch review of their business models before. That's also true of the next element of the toolkit. For organisations which haven't been in the habit of using financial ratios in their financial management and reporting practices, the financial ratios tool will be especially useful. What are financial ratios? Basically, they're tools to analyse the financial situation of your business through its financial statements. They can also alert you to structural problems which you may have been able to operate with under previous arrangements, but which will become more challenging in an open market. One example might be the extent of your reliance on income from disability service provision. Another is the months of spending or working capital available as you transition from block funding in advance to payment on invoice in arrears. The ratios can give you ready information to help you understand your organisation's vulnerability or strengths on some of the most common financial benchmarks. The last element of the toolkit is the gap analysis and development plan. After all, there's no point in doing all of this work and getting all of these valuable insights into your organisation's operations if you can't benefit from that. And the benefit here is that you can map the gaps between where your organisation is now and where it wants to be on each of these 31 benchmarks or any of the financial ratios. You can map out what sort of priority you give to responding to those gaps and what you plan to do about filling them. So that's a quick overview of the Organisational Readiness Toolkit. We've talked about what's in it and why. We hope you found that useful, but in the next webinar we're going to be going through the online toolkit to look at what working with it online actually looks and feels like in some detail, and also some of the ways to do that work which will give your organisation the greatest benefit. In the meantime, if you need more information about the toolkit or you want to have a look and play with it or download one of the reference guides we've looked at here, go to the website and get started. Good luck.